that I welcome the Warren Point Annual Harbour Report, the 40th year anniversary, and the man who is running the port, the man at the helm, is Peter Conway, the Chief Executive of Warren Point Port. Peter, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Dawn at Narrowwater Castle with Warren Point, that's a wee bit thinking out of the box. It's nice.
Yeah, well,
it's artistic and lovely and photographically beautiful.
normally we have photographs of ships and trucks and cargo, but I thought,
but you have lots of that inside.
You have lots
of that inside. Yes. Well, it's a special year because it's 40, but also because your tonnage is up.
Correct.
Significantly up.
Yes. Yes.
Tell us about that.
We had a 16% increase in our tonnage over the year, and a lot of it is based on export, which is very good news. And you know, we like a lot of other businesses and industries, we struggled during the recession.
Yes.
And 2009 was a very tough year when we had to make redundancies and all the rest of it. But thankfully, the tables have turned. Business is better. We're recruiting.
Yeah.
So it's all good news, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. The signs this year, this is the report for 2013, but the signs this year are that it's being sustained and maintained.
Yeah, you see, the port is the litmus paper, if you like, the litmus test of our economy, good or bad.
Yes, it is. Ports in general are a barometer of what's happening in the economy. And in all honesty, in 2006-07, we could see the decline before it became, the media saw it really in a way. We could see timber and steel beginning to dip, and that signaled a problem in the building industry, and then we know what happened in 2007-08.
Absolutely.
But the signs are encouraging, and the green shoots, as they call them, are coming up.
Absolutely. What are people, you know, export is all important to us. That means we are selling our products.
Yes, correct.
What are we selling?
Well, there are, I think in particular from Northern Ireland, there are manufactured goods going out.
Like what?
And the most significant one really would be the Terex sand and gravel equipment that all come from the Dungannon area, you know, where there's a lot of engineering. We would have generator sets, very large pieces of machinery. And we see that coming in with the pressed steel coming from South Wales on our direct 2 service a week line from Cardiff. It's then cut and pressed and used for manufacturing, for example, Bombardier.
Yeah, is it cut and pressed here?
It is.
Yeah, you're making the aerofoils for Bombardier.
Yeah, yes, the tail fins, and they're going out. And I mean, it's fascinating to see. It's the essence of trade.
Absolutely.
But the skill set is still here in Northern Ireland. The engineering,
to the extent that the stuff's brought in, sent up the road to Belfast to be engineered, and then sent back to you. You're benefiting both ways.
We are indeed. And then it goes on to take the Bombardier. It goes to Canada.
Wow.
So I mean, it's amazing to think that, you know, that engineering skill set and that experience that is here has been maintained and enhanced in recent years.
Yeah, you're the only, really you are the obvious port to be doing this kind of thing, because you're equidistant between north and south halfway, or not quite halfway down the island, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
And you're strong because of that.
Yes.
I'm also seeing signs of the resurgence of the building industry in the southeast of England through that very litmus test we were talking about. You're exporting.
We're exporting a lot of building materials, blocks, insulation, and in particular cement, bulk cement and packaged cement. I mean, we had in our budget for 2013 estimated to have 2 export shipments, but we had 16.
My goodness.
So you can see that what's happening in other areas can be beneficial to us in this region. And we would have people from north and south involved in the haulage industry. And all those jobs, sometimes people have a disconnect about where their jobs are emanating and coming from. But in a port, we can see that more clearly.
You can. And when I see some of the containers coming off, I'm moved to poetry. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow?
Exactly.
With silver shells and cockle shell, with silver bells and cockle shells, and big ergo-friendly, all the rest of it, containers off the ships at Warren Point.
Correct.
What is all that about?
Well, that's another very successful export. That's Westland from Dungannon, again mid-Ulster. They are very big in the production of garden materials and peat in particular. And they also produce sprays and all sorts of things, fertilizers and so on for the gardens. So they decided a few years ago to set up their own logistics company. It's called Cronus. And they have a 3 shipment a week back and forth between Warren Point and Avonmouth, Bristol.
Amazing.
And that gets them right into the heart of the south of England.
Well, affluent
And that's
Britain.
where all the gardeners live.
That's where the money is, for goodness sake. For goodness gracious. So a wee bit of Ireland is stealthily finding its way onto the great land mass of Britain.
Reconquering, would you say?
Reconquering. I was trying to avoid that.
Yes.
So this doesn't happen by chance.
No.
What's the work ethic, your work ethic at Warren Point? What's the strategy? Because you need to, how many years ahead do you look in order to keep things moving?
We would have a strategic plan. A few years ago, we had a major investment. 2010, it completed. And to put that together, we would have had to have planned what our future was and how we should develop the port, such as creating deeper water pockets on the berths, which was, it cost £10 million to do. We put in a new roll-on, roll-off berth because of Sea Truck's investment in their new ships. So all in all, you have to plan ahead. And I suppose with my own background and indeed the board, strategy, policy and direction is the focus of the board. And then it's my job as an executive along with my team, and it's a team effort, to go out there and try and market it. And we've been very successful for a number of reasons. First reason that you've alluded to, Rowan, is our location. It's very easy to sell something if people say, well, that's a good location.
Yes,
halfway between Dublin and Belfast, meaning we can get to 2 million people within 1 hour.
And
not everyone can do
well
that.
served, but in the larger part of the measure, well served by the roads.
The network is very, very good, and we just have one link that we need. But apart from that, we have a dual carriageway to Newry, and then we're into this wonderful network, the A1, M1, and then westwards to Enniskillen, Dungannon, the whole works.
We've done well from the European community, of which we are a proud member.
Yes, indeed, yes.
I do hope Mr. Farage won't
won't
rain in our parade.
I think it's a wake-up call, isn't it? It's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
And it's happening across Europe, so we have to be mindful of democracy, and democracy throws these things up.
Democracy can be an ass. No, it's the law can be an ass. The law is an ass. Democracy is an ass.
Yes.
I was telling someone, I was in a conversation over at the voting with someone, and he was a fellow who was a voter. He was a candidate, and he was saying, quite pompously, he was saying, under 50%, he said, that's a dreadful insult to those of us who stand for office. I said, no, it's a very, very accurate observation of the quality of people who are standing.
Yes.
And that's what you may take from it.
There are two sides to the coin.
There are two sides to that coin, and you can't, they're supercilious and conceited, not the thing at all. Anyway, you mustn't be saying things like that, and you're not.
No,
but
I stay
you
stay
on the water. Stay
neutral.
on the water. We talk about other kinds of boats, and you and I are both yachts people. We love boats. I cannot easily get over the mid-Atlantic thing, the thing 600 miles, not mid-Atlantic, off Cape Cod.
Yes,
I can't understand that. The loss of the Cheeky Rafiki, the yacht.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Well, as you say, I've done quite a bit of sailing myself. I'm mainly a crewman rather than a helmsman, but I have skippered on several occasions for, I suppose if you added it all up, a few months, because I've had my family sailing in Croatia and in Greece. And we've undertaken long passages across islands, and indeed from mainland Greece out to the Cyclades group. And you're sailing at night and so on. I have to say that story did frighten me to just consider what it must have been like for those poor guys out there, and it seemed to have happened so suddenly. And,
That's the only
I
explanation,
mean,
isn't it?
there's no hope now. They're lost. I'm
You and
afraid.
I would always have thought about boats that if you have a serviced and serviceable life raft on board,
Yes.
if you've got your EPIRB communication
Yeah,
system on board,
yeah,
that,
which they did,
and everyone
yes.
with life jackets, that not, and harness to the boat, safety lines, that it all would be well.
Yes, in serious conditions, it's always best to be hooked on, and you know, it's tragic. I mean, the old story, Rowan, is it's always best if you inflate your life raft to be stepping up into it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Stay on the boat unless the boat's going down. If your boat is going down, you're stepping up into your life raft.
This
but
must
they
have
didn't even
happened
get
so
a chance.
quickly. They didn't get a chance.
No.
It just flipped and was gone.
Yes.
One of the things that surprised me, because I've done some recovery and rescue work in my past when I was diving. One of the things surprised me that the U.S. Navy put in a surface swimmer to check it out. There wasn't a diver went in, and I can't understand that. I think that
I
should have
wasn't
been
aware of that.
Just the surface swimmer went down and knocked on the hull and reached down as far as his arm would let him reach down.
Oh dear.
Nothing else. No, in our time, but I would certainly have gone in.
Yeah.
And you would have been careful enough. You would have taken a cordage with you to give you your way back out again.
Yes.
You know.
I mean, there was that case about 4 years ago off New Zealand, where the yachtsman survived for 2 weeks in an air pocket.
Absolutely.
And he kept thinking someone will eventually rescue me, and he was rescued.
He was rescued indeed.
You know,
but Tony Bullimore was his name.
That's correct.
Bullimore
Yes,
or Bullimore.
yeah,
I think
yes.
that was the
Well
fellow's
done.
name. No, it just came back to
the
me.
old grey cells are working.
Well, it would need to be, I tell you, at this stage of my existence on the timeline.
Yes.
So you're the stuff that's coming in at the moment. You're proudest of. Well, you're proud of the whole lot, but you've grain coming into the port from
long distances. Yes.
Where are they coming? Where's all this coming from?
You know, Ireland, as you well know, is mainly a dairying. A lot of our exports, by the way, through the sea truck are dairy products as well, I must say. But it's a dairy country with pasture mainly and livestock. So we don't actually grow much of our own feed. And there are areas like Wexford and Kilkenny, and indeed the County Down area between, we'll say, the Drumlin Belt, between Newry and Belfast, where there's arable farming. But by and large, all the rest of the animal feeds has to be imported.
Canada is here.
We have large grain ships coming. Traditionally, they would have come from England and France, but now they're coming further afield. This is why we need the deeper facilities. And we've got vessels coming from the Ukraine and from
Ukraine.
Louisiana,
and
from Canada, and from Brazil.
My goodness.
So you know,
Brazil to Warren Point.
As a result of that, we're actually in the process. I'm working with the Mission to Seafarers to put in a little prayer room in the port.
Nice?
Because these seafarers are longer distance travellers now, rather than those that are just back and forth on the Irish Sea.
Yes.
So the local clergy are going to help out, and we'll put in a little quiet room. We have identified a room already.
Isn't that good?
And,
it's lovely to do that.
Yeah,
it's lovely to do that, because the lives of these folk can be tough enough. It's they're constantly exposed to the elements and challenges there. Whatever happened to the fellow who apparently allegedly ran away from the boat? Wasn't there such a person?
Yes, there was.
Oh, there was. Was he recaptured?
He was. Yes, he was. He went and arrived, I believe, in the very subtropical area of Bern. He was recaptured in Bern.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I suppose, depending on where you come from, you know, Warren Point and Bern could be
heaven. Of course it would.
And
be.
are.
Yep,
to all of us.
To all of us, we love it. I'm glad you said that.
yes, I'd be in trouble.
I say we'd both be drummed out of Warren Point and Bern, I tell you.
Yes.
Did you take in the Blues Festival at all?
I did, yes.
Well, before you answer that, I want to tell Andrew to have Joni Mitchell ready, please, Andrew, because we...
well, you're very kind.
Yes, sir, definitely Joni Mitchell. Yeah, you took in the blues. You did.
I did, yes. Now, this year we had the Golden Louvre, which is the Golden Line in Dutch. How's your Dutch?
Double.
Yes. It's the tall ship. We had it in the
yes,
port.
I saw it. It was
for,
gorgeous.
For 4 days.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, none of the normal groups that have supported it over the years were able to come forward this year.
Oh.
And we nearly lost it, but we decided ourselves for our 40th anniversary to do 2 sailings.
Yes.
And we did one with Sea Truck for our customers and one for our own staff, which was a great success.
Yeah.
And we had Gary Price and the Booze Brothers playing. So we got a double whammy of the Blues Festival, which was great. And I purposely pushed for that because we didn't want to lose the ship. And I understand that next year, those that did do it in the past will be back on board again, and therefore we won't have lost.
No, we shan't lose. And of course, you're having your first cruise liner coming in July.
Yes, we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
What size of ship is she?
It's about 160 meters long, which is just about our maximum width. It draws, I think, 7 meters, so it needs to go on our deep water berth. And it will have something like 300 or 400 people on board. It's a small cruise ship as cruise ships go, but it is able to dock. Yeah. And these people will be on their return from a cruise in Iceland. And it's their first port of call back in the British Isles in Warrenpoint.
Which will make them hugely welcome and let them see a little bit of our refinement.
Well, in fairness to Newry and Mourne District Council, they are spending a fair bit of money to just welcome the people, and they're doing some civic works around the harbour and around the seafront.
Excellent.
So it'll be a good boost.
Have to say to you, it's a joy to see your port. I see it at close quarters because I live down there, and I have to say, it does my heart good, to use that expression, to see the port doing so well.
Good to hear that.
Because there have been other times, and I accurately catalogued and chronicled the times when it wasn't so good in another lifetime.
Yes, I remember.
And suddenly we have wonderment occurring, and we're up there with the biggest and the best.
Yes,
which is great.
Yes, it's a great credit to the people who work there, Rowan. And I'm the chief executive, and that's a very important role. But behind me and with me are a group of managers and employees.
Yeah.
Steve adores everybody, and it's a team. And I try and explain to people that we all are like a jigsaw.
Yeah.
And if we work together, we can produce these results.
Oh, absolutely.
Because service levels are very important in business. If you don't give the service, people will move.
Fergal was saying that in our economics lot this morning, exactly that. Tell that fellow Alistair Eagles we love him.
Yes.
He might think we don't, because we made a mistake and we didn't turn up when we were to interview him 7 months ago.
Oh, right.
And he's been promising to allow us to come and interview him again.
Okay, well, I'll remind him.
I've talked to Iona, and I've said, Iona, please, I am prostrate before you, wanting this man to come. We will come anywhere to meet him.
He is as chief executive of Sea Truck, he's our biggest customer.
He's a great fellow.
So I keep very friendly with him.
When I see Sea Truck, I'm an old merchant navy man myself, and I look at the Sea Truck and I go, wow, what beautiful, beautiful vessels, And it's a great credit to Warrenpoint Port and indeed to Alistair in doing what they're doing.
They've put their money where their mouth is. They've put major investment in, and so have we. And together it works. And when you look at Sure Freight, HMT, O'Reilly's, Crilly's, all the local hauliers that use that service and are loyal to that service, sure, it's brilliant.
And the other thing to say, you don't hide it away. You welcome in parties from schools.
We do.
And
I've nearly had so many recently. I'm
young people coming in to see what you do.
Very challenging.
Yeah.
They're by far. They outweigh the adults 10 to 1 with their questioning.
And you get a great flow of them through.
We do.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
In our annual report this year, we have a photograph of a wonderful primary school from St. Patrick's here in the Meadow.
Whoa!
It's the second last page there. And then we had St. Louis Grammar School, and we've had St. Mark's, and we've had Bar Primary School recently.
Goodness gracious.
Boy, did they flummox me, because their questions were
Oh, yes.
brilliant, absolutely
Yes,
brilliant.
yes,
And then
yes.
we've Jerry Byrne in his
Jerry
boat.
is there. Well, Jerry, you know, I could take that photograph and put it down 20 years ago.
Yes.
That was the same. He was
Yes.
doing exactly
Yeah,
the same.
he was.
Jerry's a great sailor.
Yes.
He's in a Gypsy
I
312.
don't think Jerry knows this is in, so we'll have to be quiet on the air.
We're going to play you now, Joni Mitchell. Thank you for
Excellent.
coming
Thank
in.
you very
Go
much,
well.
Ron.
Take
My
care.
pleasure.